Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted.
Welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. This is a super special episode, and I'm so happy you're here to listen in with us at the Get Sculpted podcast because this is our 50th episode. I cannot believe it. Give ourselves a little round of applause.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Confetti.
Thank you to us, but thank you to you because without you listening in week over week, I don't know if we'd have gotten to episode 50, but I'm so happy we have because it just tells us that the way that we've structured our conversations with you has been meaningful and you've really been enjoying it. You've been sharing and we love that. So today we're doing something really special. We want to, slow down a little bit, take a moment to reflect on what we've learned and what we wish we could tell our 20-year-old selves. We talk about our health, our fitness, our food, our mindset. We're going to go into relationships even and think of this as a conversation with our younger selves. Hopefully with you too, if you're navigating some of the same lessons we had to learn the hard way, maybe you can take our lessons and apply them into your
Cautionary
own life.
tale.
Yes, cautionary tale. So let's dive in. We're going to go through some questions here. We're each going to get a chance to answer and we'll see what we want to tell our 20-year-old selves. Are you guys in for it?
I am. I'm a little emotional right now.
Turning back.
My 20-year-old self. Oh, there's so many things I'd want to tell her.
Aw, we'll get to tell her now.
But I have a tattoo of me and my inner child. So
I love that.
Yeah. So I very much believe in speaking to that inner child or young adult.
Me too. Healing her, she's still part of us. She got us here.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was strong and brave. Let's kick it off with the first one. What would you tell your 20-year-old self about how she thinks about her body? Take a sec to let that settle in. T, Mar, who would like to go first?
I'll kick it off.
Go for it.
I want to hear yours.
Okay. So I'll kind of give you the shortened version, but so much of my 20s, actually, if I'm being honest, even my teens, was spent hating my body. Like hating everything about it. I was scale obsessed. I thought that skinny, and I mean skinny, like I admired the thigh gap and not being able to see someone when they turn sideways. It was not great, but I thought that was the pinnacle of health. I also thought it was just like the pinnacle of being. So what I would tell her is this. First of all, your body isn't something to punish. It's not something to hate, and it's certainly not something to shrink. And being skinny doesn't equate to being capable and strong. And it actually doesn't even equate to having the body that I want, because back then I was never happy. I would definitely tell her to stop chasing what everyone is telling you, you should look like, because none of that brings confidence. And the sooner you start treating your body like it's your partner and not something that you hate, the sooner you're going to feel happier in your skin. So that's what I would tell her.
I would totally echo that. I just thought about all the ways I hated my body and for what? My body does so much for me. All of our bodies do. It's trying to keep us alive every second of the day. And I've done a lot of negative things to my body, from dieting to partying and hating it in the process. And for what? We're on the same team, dude. That's what I would tell my body is we are a team here. And it sounds really corny to say, but your body is beautiful. Your body's your own.
It is.
And it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. And I want it to be the best version, both physically and aesthetically. And that comes from working with your body and not working against it.
That's so important. And very similar to you girls, there was a lot of self-hate about my body and how different it looked from others that I was friends with or that I looked up to or that I thought was beautiful. I developed very early. So having breasts, having hips, having all the curves. And I would tell her that girl, hang on to those because guess what? Not too long in the future, everybody's going to want boobs and booties. So maybe you could be a trendsetter instead of trying to follow the crowd. So I would tell her to be confident with what she has because it's all natural and it's all hers, and to respect it more than she did, right? And to take care of it better and to fuel it the way that it really needed to. I could not even count how many times I cut calories so low to try and get so tiny and still wasn't happy. And how many times I looked back at pictures being like, wow, I really was like where I thought I wanted to be, but I couldn't see it. And so I would challenge her to really see it, to see the beauty that's already there instead of trying to contort into something that wasn't meant to be. So that's what I would tell her, and to just be a little gentler with herself.
Yeah.
Like, you're so hard on yourself, girl.
Show some love.
Be a little softer. Show some love.
I tell myself that any age.
Yeah.
I love it.
So let's move into the next one. T, you want to ask it?
Yes, guys. So what would you tell your younger self about workouts and fitness?
Oof. This is another one that's really hard. George, do you want to kick this one off?
Sure, I can kick this one off. I first stepped foot into a gym when I was 18. So the first time I walked in there, I was really scared. I was really overwhelmed. I was definitely there to do one of two things, to either meet boys, which is kind of funny, now thinking back about that, and to also, again, get smaller and using the equipment there, figuring out what to do in the gym to always get smaller.
Yeah.
And so more cardio, more reps, more classes, all of those things. And I would tell my younger self to lean into strong and to lean into fun and to lean into lifestyle and be like, what do you need to do in the gym to live the kind of life you want to live and do the kind of things that you want to do, and to do it now because you're going to need all this muscle later, and set your older self up for success.
I love that. Mine's very similar. I was obsessed with working out, but for now I realize all the wrong reasons, because I did see exercise as a means to get skinny. Everything revolved around that. I would go to the gym sometimes a couple of times a day just because I was like, oh, if I can get 2 workouts in, that's better than 1. So I would definitely tell her, just plain and simple, like, more isn't better, because that's not going to get you to where you want to be. I know now, wise mind, that I needed to lift weights. I needed to give myself that rest and recovery. The other thing I would tell her is that fitness, like exercise, movement, it's not a means to an end. So it's not something you do like just to get skinny, or, just when you're young and then you stop. It's something you're going to do for life. So like you said, you can live at any age, you can live fully. Honestly, the same thing. Strong, not skinny, and smarter, not harder. All of our phrases that we use, that's what I would tell her.
These are so good, guys. I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to be more tactical. I would say all the things you guys said for sure, but also like, girl, you got no kids. You're 20.
You're not tired.
Yeah, you're not busy and you ain't that tired. You got a lot of freaking free time. Girls, stop complaining. Number 1. Just so you know, girl, the version from you 14 years from now is like
way busier.
Way busier, and also just doing a lot more and managing it. But anyways, start now, because you're going to need muscle. You're going to need a lot of it.
Yeah.
And if you start now, you're 20. You're in a great place. Like, I think to myself, imagine if I was locked in back then. Like,
oh gosh,
if I had the knowledge, I was like obsessed with being 115 pounds. I could have been jacked, even more jacked.
It's true.
Please just stop with the nonsense. And also, the last thing I will say is, like, just because I wore it as a badge of honor that like I'm so active, it's nice to be active, nice to be the healthy one. But like, no, I shouldn't have just been, doing things my own way and self-navigating. The earlier that I got the right mentorship and support and direction, the better. That's what I would tell myself.
That's a good one.
That's really good. Really good. All right. You ready for the next question? So we're going to go into the zone of food and nutrition. So if you were to tell your 20-year-old self something about food and nutrition, what would you tell her?
Oh, this one makes me cry.
I was going to say this one. Yeah.
I'll go first. I would tell her, oh my God, I'm actually going to cry.
It's okay.
I would tell her to actually look at the reasons why she's eating. Oh my God, it's like bawling.
It's okay.
I would tell her to look at why she's eating. And all those things that happened to her, like, weren't her fault, and she didn't deserve it. And she doesn't have to hold on to it any longer than she needs to in order to heal from it. and that by doing the hard work of healing from it would actually give her everything that she really wants. And that having a good relationship with food is going to set the tone for a lot of things. And that by doing that work sooner, not only is she going to build that trust in herself that she really wants, but it's going to build the confidence that she wants, and it's going to push her out into the universe the way that she needs to be. But yeah, don't be afraid to face that, because like as the 42-year-old version of me and having done that work, like I really wish I did it sooner when it was more fresh.
But you did it now.
Yes.
You did it.
We love you.
It's amazing.
I love
We
you,
do.
girls.
Okay. Wow. Honestly, like the relationship I had with food, taking myself back to that mindset, I'm even trying to be in my headspace where I was so restrictive that it's been so long, but like just thinking of, it was always like I had a couple drinks and I was so hungry, and like just going through the binges, like putting myself back in that mindset of, okay, now I've completely stuffed myself to the point that I feel sick. And I'm almost trying to think of like, what would I say to that version of myself? I would say like, it just doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. Imagine if you ate in a way for performance and energy and not to maintain a weight. That's the reframe. And it's like, that doesn't mean sacrificing wanting to look good. It means you're shifting. Food is not something bad that you avoid. It's something that actually, like literally not only adds to your life, it keeps you alive. It very much amplifies your life to eat more of the right things. So start seeing it as your friend and not your enemy. That's what I would tell myself.
That's funny you say that, because that's literally what I was going to say is I was terrified of food. Like if someone said like, what's your phobia? Food. I'm sure there is like a whatever phobia of food. I was terrified of food. So, T, when you said enemy, that's what I used to see food as. Like food was the thing that would make me fat. It was the thing that would unlock all of the doors to like my worst fears, my worst nightmares. And so when it came to food, I spent the better part of my teens and 20s restricting, yes, but literally starving myself. I would go days and days without eating. I had all the things happen, like my period got all wonky and it stopped. Actually, every time around my cycle, I would actually pass out because I was so undernourished. So I would say to her that, food is not your enemy, kind of like what you girls are saying, like it is your fuel. It is what you need to thrive. And I also would kind of get a little tactical with this too, because I was very much of the, good food, bad food.
Oh yeah.
I was very much like, I can't eat this. It was all about food rules and what I can and cannot eat, which put me in a really bad place, because that's where the guilt and the shame spiral came in when I would have those foods that I had told myself, you're bad if you have these foods. So I think that's the underlying thing, that food is not the enemy, and food will actually allow you to show up in the way that you want to. That confident, fit, healthy version of yourself, food is what's going to do that.
I was going to tell you, what came to mind when I was that age? I remember I definitely had some disordered eating, but I had a dream once, which was a nightmare, that I ate a whole chocolate cake like that guy in Matilda. And I kid you not, I woke up in a sweat thinking, oh, I just ate like 3,000 calories. And then I told my coworker I had a nightmare last night. I had a whole chocolate cake. She's like, sounds like a nice dream. And I look back and I'm like I was legit panicking, waking up thinking I ate that many calories. So I get it.
No, I can relate. Are we ready to move on to the next one?
Go for it.
Okay. So ladies, what would you tell your younger self about mindset and self-belief? This is a loaded one.
T, you can start that one.
Okay. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I used to put people on such a pedestal. Like I was always in my mind like the inferior one. And like I was always like putting these like, oh, they're so amazing and they're godlike and untouchable. And like, you need to put yourself on the pedestal. That's what I would say is, don't get me wrong. You could be certainly inspired by other people 100%, but it's not like these people who achieve amazing things and like have the great body and business and the family. They're not like in another stratosphere. You could do that too. I wish I had more self-belief that anyone can achieve these great things.
Yes.
Like we're all living life on planet Earth for the first time. So these people that are like, you think are all that in a bag of chips, let them inspire you, but also believe that you could do it too.
Yeah, I love that angle. I think I would say something very similar about we're all just people on the earth trying to do the same thing, that nobody's really looking at you. They're also concerned about themselves, and that if you don't take the risk now, then when? And if not you, then who, right? There's a quote that really struck me around like, why not you? And I had like a screenshot of a picture of it on my phone for like literally years, because that was the hurdle I had to get over. And so I would tell my younger self, like, why not you? Like, why not you for that healthy life? Why not you for that amazing body? Why not you for that promotion or that beautiful relationship that you want? Why not you for this incredible deep love? Like, you deserve all of it. And actually, so does everybody. It's not just you. So it's like there's not a lack of availability for love and success and a happy life. So like, grab hold of it and know your worth.
That's a great one.
I love that so much. Yeah. Why not you?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's my turn. Okay. I got a kind of twofold thing here. First, God, perfectionism. Oh, I'm still battling that beast, but it was definitely rearing its ugliest head when I was at that age. So I would just tell her that perfection is not real. And also what perfect, and I'm using air quotes, looks like is different depending on what's going on in your life. So instead of shooting for that one standard, kind of like you mentioned, T, like that person, that pedestal, that like, that's not real, right? Like that's not my reality necessarily. I'm going to shape my own reality. And 100% for me doesn't necessarily mean 100% for somebody else. But on the more kind of emotional side of this, I think the biggest thing I would say is be careful what that voice inside your head is saying, because self-talk matters more than you realize. And I'm getting goosebumps. The things you say to yourself, they completely shape what you feel you're capable of. And when you are constantly negative to yourself in your brain, nothing good comes of that. Nothing good. So you need to be your biggest supporter and not care about what anybody else does, anybody else thinks or says. The most important opinion is yours.
Yes.
And confidence isn't like something you wait for or something you get when you get to a certain point in life.
Yes.
It's actually built, right? Like you got to show up, you got to take action. God, you got to get the hell out of your comfort zone, which is something that I, to this day in my 40s, still work on. And I think just trusting yourself, right? It's okay to be scared. It's okay to not have all the answers, but just keep moving forward.
I felt that one.
Powerful. I love it.
All right, T, I think it's your turn to ask some questions.
All right. So what would you tell yourself, your 20-year-old self, about relationships? And we're talking like all relationships, right?
I was going to say, how spicy? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Any kind of relationship you want to talk about.
Well, I mean, for me, relationships with others, if we're talking about external, I'm just going to go this way. Boundaries. I had no freaking boundaries whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
I said yes to things I didn't want to say yes to. In fact, and I love my parents dearly, but I also grew up in a culture, let's just put it this way, that like you do things because it's what you do. It's just the right thing to do. And it didn't matter if I didn't like it or if it was uncomfortable or whatever. It's just, that's the right thing to do. So I learned very early on that my boundaries didn't really matter. There was just nothing to hold on to that was my own boundary, because I was told that you do things because you have to. And so I got myself into a lot of trouble saying yes to things that I wasn't comfortable with. I even think of some life choices I made. Like I can even go back to, God, where I went to school. And, you know, sometimes, if I'm being honest, sometimes even the fact that I went into teaching, I love teaching and I love being a coach because essentially it's a teacher. But why I went into it was because of what I was being told to do. So many areas of my life lacked boundaries and didn't always lead to the things I wanted. So that's kind of my external.
Love it.
I love that one, Mare, a lot. And I can relate to pretty much every word that you're saying there around the boundaries piece, because at the end of the day, it's about honoring yourself in relationships. And I think you teach other people how to treat you. And I wasn't very good at that. I let a lot of people walk all over me or influence me or change my mind when I maybe shouldn't have, or stayed in relationships longer than they needed to be in because of others and this unspoken power I let them have over me. And I think that my younger self, she would do with a really good teaching in the word no and being able to say it with confidence, and that it is a one-word sentence.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a good one. Boundaries are so important. I'm just thinking, I think I'm going to go specifically in the marriage angle because I'm coming up to 10 years married, actually. Less than you guys have been married.
Ooh, I love it.
And, you know, I've been talking about like my vow renewal, and like Brian and I have just been in a really good place. And it's interesting because, like, I guess what we were talking about this, the number one thing I can say, I'm going to lead with a quote. Having a wedding takes love. Having a marriage takes work. And the number one advice I would give myself is like communication is key. And that goes for any relationship. But being in a good place now, I realize like, okay, the partner you pick also is going to have the biggest influence probably out of any relationship in your life. So you need to really get clear on what your values are and make sure those are aligned and really have clear and open and hard discussions about what you want your life to look like. And you have to lead with all your relationships with loving and pouring into yourself. And nobody can do that for you. So that's the advice I'm giving. And also, like, the same thing you guys said about not letting people walk all over you. Like, you deserve to speak up and have your voice heard, and don't let people take that away from you.
Super powerful.
All right, Jordan, take us into the last one.
Awesome. So this is more of like a big picture life advice type question. If you could give your 20-year-old self just one piece of advice about life as a whole, what would you say to her?
I would say life is what you make it. You are the creator of your life. You're the deliberate creator of your life. And everything, for better or worse, from your childhood and upbringing has influenced your outlook on the world. But it doesn't need to be that way. Like, you don't need to limit yourself with just putting yourself in a box of kind of what life has imposed on you. Like, you, at any point in time, can change parts of your identity and keep leveling up.
I love that. I think I would tell her that, like, you are the most important person in your life, the most important person, and how you treat yourself, that sets the tone for everything. Like we've talked about relationships, your life choices, mindset, like all of that. So I would say to her, spend your time, your energy, your money, your resources, all of those things investing in yourself, because that compounds over time and it is never a waste. And kind of in that same vein, never waiting for the perfect moment. I have spent most of my life being the poster child for let's wait till all the stars align before I make a choice. And that's not reality. So it's trusting yourself, committing to your growth, and just know that the life you want, it's built by you showing up every single day, even when it's messy.
I love it.
I love that. So I would tell her, I'm going to say two things here. One's kind of like being silly, but I would tell her to invest in Apple, Bitcoin, Amazon.
That's not silly.
Because when I was in my 20s, those were like little baby garage things. And we would be having a very different conversation right now if I had done that.
Make a YouTube channel.
Having it on your yacht?
Yes. When somebody said to me, hey, Bitcoin's like $30 right now, I think it's going to be huge. And I was learning about it when it first dropped, about blockchain. And when I was sitting there as a little baby assistant manager in my finance days, I should have done that. So that's one thing that I would tell her, girl, do it. And then just more seriously, I would say that I look back and I see how I tried to take risks. I see how I tried to step outside of my comfort zone. For example, I really wanted to go away to school, and I went away to school, but I was still able to drive too. So like I went away to school, but like I actually wanted to go a lot farther, to the point where, you know, I was in a different province, or I was in a different country, or I was in like a totally different environment. And I didn't do that, but I did go away to school. So it's almost like, I don't want to say I half-assed my risk-taking, but I didn't take it to the level that I knew would really get me to like living that super best life. It's like I saw these like glass ceilings for myself in all of these decisions and was like, you can only go here. That limiting belief of like how far I could really take it. And I think when I left my corporate career and, you know, invested time and money to become a coach and sold my house, quit my job, moved cities, like all at the same time, I was kind of saying to myself, like, you can rewrite your life at any moment in time. And you could have done this like at any point. And now is just some arbitrary moment because you're ready for it. You've decided. And so I would tell her that like really go all the way with your decisions, because you trusting yourself is actually going to get you as far as you really want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
This was a good one, guys.
So this was a really interesting episode.
If I may ask, what year were you guys 20?
22 years ago.
I was 81, 91, 2001.
Oh, 2001. Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking, that's crazy.
It was 2003. So a lot was going on in 2003. It was a really interesting time in the world.
2011. It doesn't feel like that long ago.
T is our baby. You're our baby girl.
And look how much you've grown. That's a beautiful thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I always, every year on my memories on Facebook, when it's around my birthday, there's a video of me like pre-drinking in my 20s. And I was like, I'm such a little baby. Like, why is this on Facebook?
Oh my God, I love that. Well, if there's one thread in all of this, it's that the things we worried about most in our 20s weren't necessarily things that mattered long term. And, we learned the things that we wanted to learn along the way, despite our starting circumstances. And things like investing in your health and your mindset and your self-belief, it pays off in every single area of your life. And I'm so grateful that all of you listening have been part of our first 50 episodes. We've grown a lot in this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Over the course of the last several months. And I got to tell you, we're just getting started. We're just warming up here. So if you've enjoyed the last several months, if you've just found us and you're starting to binge our episodes, take a minute. Let us know what you've been enjoying, why you've been enjoying it. We're looking for that feedback. You can catch us over at getsculpted.ca on Instagram. And let us know what you've been enjoying and what more you'd love to see, because we have been completely blown away by hitting incredible milestones over the summer with over 7,500 downloads, less than 6 months of being a podcast. And that's thanks to you, all of you listening and sharing. And so please keep doing what you've been doing, because it means the world to us that our words of wisdom reach more women like you and that we can help more women like you. And so take a minute to think, once this episode's done, or maybe throughout the episode, you've been asking yourself these questions. What would you tell your 20-year-old self? And more importantly, how would you start living that advice today? What would you do differently? What kind of risks would you take? And how much bigger could your 2.0 self get if you took that advice? So we'd love to hear it. Share it with us. And here's to 50 more episodes, girls, to all of us continuing to sculpt the strongest versions of ourselves. We're excited to have you all along with the ride. And thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.